Good morning, everyone. My name is Tushar Mohan, and I will be presenting a poster on a case study of hashtag is the Counterpublic campaign on Twitter. Before diving into the specifics, I would like to introduce a few terms, one of which is social media activists. These are those people on social media who tend to involve in activism activities like organization of online petitions and building a counterpublic campaign narrative through hashtags, specifically on Twitter. Talking about counterpublics, these are those users or marginalized communities who tend to distribute messages to diverse social groups in order to raise awareness and challenge dominant narratives. Coming to the specifics, this case study belongs to hashtag SSR Counter Public Campaign. Hashtag SSR is nothing but hashtag Sranting Rajput Counter Public Campaign, which revolves around the death of an Indian celebrity on June 14, 2020, which in turn triggered a lot of debates of nepotism and murder. We try to analyze the whole situation through the lens of collective action framework in order to identify the role of activists that facilitate interactions and build the whole counter-public campaigns momentum. Now, before diving into the collective action framework, I would like to just differentiate between collective action and the collective action. So the collective action is nothing but the decentralized actions of peoples around, say, a group of around communities or around the world, whereas collective action is centralized by some entity. So in short, collective action is led by a group of people and nobody is a leader, whereas in collective action, it is led by a formal organization altogether. In this case study, we tend to answer three research questions per se, which are: what is the organizational structure of the social media counter public campaign around the death of Sushant Rajput? Second, how did hashtag-based storytelling evolve during the counter public campaign? And third, how did campaign activists with different perspectives achieve issue alignment on the topic? Let's talk about the data per se. So the data consisted of around 1 million tweets, out of which 76,781 were original tweets and the rest were retweets. And these tweets and the retweets were basically done by 67,822 unique users, and the whole data was collected through Twitter API, the official Twitter API. On analyzing the data, the duration of the collection of tweets ranged from July 17th, 2020 to October 21, 2020. Now coming to the first research question, that is organizational structure of the Counterpublic campaign around the death of Sushant Rajput. Now in order to answer this particular research question, what we did was we took out top 1,000 users based on two different categories. One was the top information generators and the second was top information drivers. Now first I'll talk about the generators and drivers. Generators are those people who create their own content and they tweet an original content of their own, whereas drivers are those people who keep on retweeting the content tweeted by other users. Now, how did we actually come about the top 1,000 users on the two different categories? Was through the high out degree and in degree centralities from the graph that we built based on the users, how they were connected to each other. And the result was that the drivers were more actively connected with each other and other campaign activists. This was based on eigenvector centrality, whereas generators were more likely to have shorter paths between any two activists. Now, this was based on between centrality. Coming to research question 2. Now, research question 2 was how did hashtag-based storytelling evolve during the Counterpublic campaign? In order to do this, we bucketized all the hashtags into 4 different buckets based on the frequencies and how they, what was the intent behind them. In order to do this, we went through a whole lot of we took out the frequencies of the hashtags based on how many tweets were they used in, and out of those we filtered out all the hashtags which were used in less than 100 tweets. Now based on that we got 4 different buckets. One is hashtag can for SSR, hashtag CBF for SSR, hashtag justice for SSR, and Bollywood. And you can see the corresponding tweet counts in the respective column. We also did a temporal analysis as to when was a peak, and there was a major news based on the particular date, that is 22nd July, when all the hashtags took a peak. And then there was a tip. This tip is basically annotated to loss in information while collecting the data. Next, you can see the word clouds or the four different hashtag buckets that we just mentioned above. And out of those four buckets, you can see clearly in Candle, CPI, and Justice, the major dominant narrative is around justice, talking about justice in some or the other sense. Coming to the third and the last resource question, that is how did campaign activists with different perspectives achieve issue alignment on the topic. Now, in order to do this, what we did was, like previously, we had already made a graph based on who was a driver and the information generator. Now, after that, what we did was we applied community detection on the top 1,000 generator and top 1,000 drivers graph. Now, when we did that, we came across 6 different communities that could be identified from them, and each different color is a different community. Now, when diving deep into the communities as to what was the kind of content that was being circulated around the communities, we saw that these are the 4 major topics or the main topics on which they were actually talking about. One is protest, media, nepotism, and candle, and these were the major or the most popular words used in those respective tweets. And just to make sure, these dominant narratives were common across all the communities, and nothing was like particular narrative was only unique to any particular community. Last but not the least, the conclusion, that is we could actually work around the connective action framework and generative role taking. As to generators are basically people who are sort of past activists, and drivers have densely connected uh, are densely connected to other users. Talking about hashtag based storytelling, the hashtag that was most dominant was Justice for SSR, while the highest daily peak was of Candle for SSR. As you can clearly see, this particular thing, that is the purple one, that's the candle. Last but not the least, issue alignment. There was a mix of centralized and decentralized network present, and no standalone communities were present. Thank you.